Hello everyone, my name is Michael and I'm the Crafty Crocheter, and today I am going to show you my latest Afghan project. And when I came across this online, I thought it was a really beautiful blanket or throw. You want to call it a throw because it's not as big as a blanket, but I'll get into the details in a moment. But this blanket I am calling the Somewhere Over the Rainbow throw. And the reason I call it that is because of all the rainbow colors for these panels, these triangular panels. And this blanket measures 45 inches by 38 inches wide. So it's 45 inches tall and 38 inches wide. So, and this is a beautiful blanket that you can use for put on your armchair or just as a lap blanket. But I like the way it turned out, and it also has a 3D effect. If I turn this way, you can see the 3D effect. And I'll show you what tools and yarn you'll need to complete this project. So here we go. Now the items you're going to need for this blanket is going to be 3 skeins of the Super Saver Bitty Stripes Rainbow, 3 skeins of the Super Saver Bitty Stripes Rainbow Mist, and then 1 skein of the Bernat Baby Soft Sport yarn. This is the number 3 yarn, and the reason I'm using a number 3 yarn is when I join the triangles together, this won't show as much as you would do with a number 4 yarn. And then you're also going to need a size H crochet hook. Of course, you can use either an I or a J. It will affect the gauge of your project. So without further ado, here we go. Okay everyone, so for this particular project, you're going to be creating a bunch of these triangles, which are composed of a series of front post double crochets and back post double crochets. And for each color, the rainbow and a rainbow mist, with the 3 skeins that you would need for each, you're going to create a total of 130 panels, which would mean 65 for the rainbow and 65 for the rainbow mist. And then I will show you how to create these patches, and then later on in the video I'll show you how to join them. So let's go ahead and get that started. Oh, and also before I forget, you can also make the project smaller or larger if you wish. For my particular project, I'm making mine 72 inches by 60 inches or 6 feet by 5 feet. And I did measure these panels from corner to corner on the bottom, and each panel is 5 inches wide. So you can take that into consideration when you are wanting to know how many panels you want for the width and height of your blanket. And also, if you're curious about the amount of yarn you need per panel, I calculated it and it comes out to about 12 grams. So if you have a kitchen scale, that would be your best friend in case you come towards the end of your skein and you're not sure if you have enough for another panel. So if it's 12 grams or more, then you'll have enough for another panel. So let's go ahead and get one started. So to start, you're going to work a magic ring. So in case you're not sure of how to work a magic ring, I will show you how now. So you'll take the end of the yarn, and I usually pinch this bottom part with my thumb, and then your 2 fingers like that. Then you're gonna wrap it around here and take this yarn and go to the left side, and I take my ring finger and hold it down, so that way it's not gonna come undone. So you'll have 2 strands of yarn over these 2 fingers. The next thing you're gonna do is slide your crochet hook underneath this strand, and then hook this other strand and go underneath it and twist it. And then make sure you pinch this, and then make sure you have this strand of yarn kind of underneath this strand right here. So then to finish it, you're just gonna chain 1, and then you have completed your magic ring. Now this chain does not count as your stitch. So to begin, you're gonna chain 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then next you're going to create 2 more double crochet stitches in this ring. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that magic ring, and pull those yarn up, and then you'll have your 3 loops as you would with a standard double crochet. Then yarn over again, and then pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through the next 2 loops. No, wait, I'm wrong. You're going to create 3 more. Sorry, so including this chain 4, you're going to create 3 more double crochets. So again, yarn over and work here a second double crochet. And yarn over, and this is going to be your last double crochet for this. Alright guys, I do apologize. So from the beginning, once you get your magic ring done, chain 4, and then after that chain 4, you're going to work 3 more double crochets. Then after that third double crochet, you're going to chain 1, and then work 3 more double crochets. One, 2, it's going to be the third one. And that is your second trio of double crochets. So then chain 1 again, and then instead of working 3 double crochets, you're only going to work 2, and I'll show you why in a moment. 1, and then 2. Hang on, look at this yarn through. There we go. There's 2. So then after your second one, you're going to pull this and to close the ring nice and tight. Then insert your hook into the chain after this one. So from this double crochet, skip 1 chain, and then insert your hook into the following chain, and then you're just going to work a slip stitch through both of these loops. And then insert your hook. Then insert your hook into this chain space, and then you're going to work another slip stitch. Then yarn over, and then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. So then just double check it. I usually like to pull it apart to make sure you have 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here. And that chain 4 at the beginning does count as your double crochet for this series over here. So that is the end of round 1. So just get some more yarn. So to start round 2, after your chain 3, you're going to work 2 double crochets into this chain space. After, so here's your chain of 3, and then in the chain space here, you're going to work 2 more double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook into that chain space, and then work your 2 double crochets in that chain space. And that's 2. That's your second. So now you're going to be working a series of front post double crochets and back post double crochets. So next you're going to yarn over, and then we're going to work a front post double crochet. So insert your hook, go behind the first post, and then make sure your hook comes out the other side. So make sure that your post is in front of your crochet hook. Then you're just going to pull the yarn through that behind that post. Then you'll have 3 loops in your hook, and then work your double crochet as you normally would. And then that is your and that is your front post double crochet. So the next stitch we're going to work is the back post double crochet. So again, yarn over, and then take your hook, go behind here, and then insert your hook in front of that next post. So that way this post is behind your crochet hook, which is why it's called a back post double crochet. And then pull the yarn through in front of that post until you get your 3 loops, then yarn over and then work your double crochet as before. And then for the last post, you're going to be working a front post double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook behind that last post of the trio, and then pull the yarn behind that. Then you'll have your 3 loops on your hook, and then work your double crochet as you normally would. And then to finish this side, you're gonna work two double crochets in this chain space. So let's work 2 double crochets now. 1, 2, and then after that second double crochet, you're going to chain 1, and then work 2 more double crochets in that same chain space. So yarn over, go into that same chain space, and then work your 2 more double crochets. And so basically you're repeating it until you get to the very end. So I'll work one more side with you. So actually going to do your front post double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook behind that first post, and make sure it comes out the other side so that only that post is in front of your crochet hook. And pull the yarn through for your 3 loops, and then you're going to work your double crochet as normal. And then next you're going to yarn over and work your back post double crochet. So make sure you insert your hook behind, and then make sure you put your hook in front of that post. And then you'll see that your post is behind your crochet hook, and then pull the yarn through until you have your 3 loops on the hook, and then work your double crochet as before. And then for the final post, you're going to work a front post double crochet. So insert your hook behind that post so that your post is in front of the crochet hook, and then pull the yarn through that. You have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And then as before, you're going to work 2 double crochets in this chain space. Then chain 1, and then work 2 more double crochets in that same chain space. And then I'll work this last side with you, and then I'll show you what to do when you get to this end. So yarn over, work your front post double crochet, yarn over, work your back post double crochet, sometimes that yarn, then yarn over and work your front post double crochet. All right, so we're at the end of the round. So since we have 2 posts here already, and we have 1 post, 1 double crochet at the beginning where we did our chain 4. In the chain space here, you're only going to work 1 double crochet. Then after you work that final double crochet, insert your hook into the next chain from this top. So if you're counting up in the second chain from the bottom, so it would be this one right here where my hook is, and insert your hook into that chain. Okay, then you're just going to work a slip stitch through both of those loops, and then after to finish the round, you're going to find that chain space in between the 2 double crochets, insert your hook into that chain space, and then you're going to work another slip stitch. And then that is the end of round 2. So basically you're repeating this for all the rest of the rounds, so you got to do this 3 more times, and this will increase every single time. So I'm going to then you're going to do chain 3 as before. Then you're just going to, in this chain space, you're going to work 2 double crochets, and then in this post here, this is going to be a new post. You're going to work a front post double crochet, and I'll work this side with you, and then I'll let you work the rest of this around on your own. So let's go ahead and work 2 double crochets in that chain space. And again, you're going to repeat this for the rest of the round. So there's a total of 5 rounds. So yarn over, and then in this stitch here, which is your double crochet, you're going to work a front post double crochet. So insert your hook behind and out again to make sure that that post is in front of your crochet hook. Then pull the yarn through there. Then you'll have your 3 loops on the hook. And then work your double crochet as before. Then next you're going to yarn over, and then the next double crochet here, you're going to work a back post double crochet. So insert the hook behind and in front of that post. So you'll see the crochet hook is in front of your post. And then pull that yarn through that opening. Then you have your 3 loops, and then work your double crochet as before. Yarn over, work a front post. Pull some more yarn. Just get some more yarn here. All right, there we go. All right, then yarn over, then you work a back post double crochet. And if at any time you're having difficulty what to do as far as your front post and back post double crochets, just rewind the video and just watch what I've done, so that way you know what to do as far as where to insert your hook for the front post double crochet, where you want to insert it for your back post double crochet. So since we just worked our back post, we're going to work a front post again. So again, insert your hook and behind that post, then pull the yarn through. Then you're going to work your double crochet as before, as normal. Yarn over, go back post, work a double crochet, and then so every new both beginning and end of each side is going to be a front post double crochet. So keep that in mind. Then the last one is going to be our front post double crochet. And as soon as you get done with that final front post double crochet, find that chain space and work 2 double crochets. Then as with the last round, you're going to chain 1 and work 2 more double crochets into that same chain space. And basically, you are repeating this all the way around to the end. And then when you get to the end, you only need to work 1 double crochet stitch and then join it to the second chain right here for each round. So you'll need to work this. After this, you're going to work this 2 more times for a total of 5 rounds. I'll work the rest of this off camera, then I'll show you what round 3 looks like, and then we can move on to round 4. Alright, so that's the end of round 3, and then you'll just basically repeat that process 2 more times around until you have 5 total, and this is what it looks like at the very end. So the best way to find out which round you're on in case you lost track, just count the number of these holes here. So there's 5 holes here, then this is 5 rounds have been completed. So just count the holes along your work, and for the number of holes you have already done, that's what round you completed, and that's what round, and then the next round's what you're working on. Say, for example, with this one, we have 3 rounds completed, so that means you're going to be moving on to round 4, and so on and so forth. So until you have 5 rounds completed, and this is what the finished panel looks like. Then next, I'm going to show you how to join these together to create the blanket. All right, and then once you have all of your 130 triangles done, you're going to join them together, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to start with 2. And then refer to the pattern and how these are put together, but of course if you're using different colored yarns, you can create the pattern however you want, but this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. So get my pattern this way. Yep. All right, cool. So I'm going to join, make sure you have these spaced in the way you want to join them together. And then fold it over, make sure you have your back this way and your back that way too, like the wrong sides. And then what I like to do is I like to, if you feel around and you feel where the knot is, where you fastened off your triangles, I like to join them together that way. It just makes it easier. So I'm going to go ahead, it goes this way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fold these together. And then make sure you line up the chain spaces on your triangles. Then you're going to take your number 3 baby yarn and put a slip knot already on your hook, and then you're going to just feed the hook through the 2 holes of your triangles. Then just take this yarn and loop over, and I like to move this way too. Then you're just going to do a slip stitch to join it. And then once you have that slip done, take this tail and tighten it so it has a nice tight fit. And then try to match this up as best as you can, because you're going to be working on the inner loops of each of the stitches. So try to gauge it as best as possible. So the first one, I'm going to go to the inside of this here, this loop, and I'll line it up to the inner loop of the opposite triangle. So that, and now you have the 2 inners together, and then you're just going to do a slip stitch through there. So pull that through and then do a slip stitch. And then you're going to do that all the way down to the end. So I'll do another one with you. So make sure you have these lined up as best as possible. Take your hook, go into the back loop of this triangle, and a stitch, and then go through the front loop of the one opposite. So you have your back loop of this triangle here, and then you have the front loop of this triangle here. Then take your yarn through both of those loops, and then you have your 2 loops on the hook, and then just do a slip stitch. And you're going to work that all the way down to the very end, and I'll show you what to do when you get to the very end. Okay, so we're near the end of these 2 triangles here, the end of the joining seam. So again, as before, just make sure you line up your triangles as best as possible. Get that back loop of this triangle, and then get the front loop of the opposite triangle, and then do a slip stitch through there with your number 3 weighted yarn. And then I'm going to do one more to that tippy corner. Then do a slip stitch here. And then to finish it, again, as you did with the beginning, make sure you line up your chain spaces for both of these triangles, and just feed the hook through there, and then do a slip stitch. And then I like to do the chain 2 pull method to fasten it off. So I'm going to do 1, 2, so that way I have that second already done. And then I like to do like a long enough tail, because you're going to be weaving these ends in anyway. And then just pull, pinch, and since I already have a second in there, oh, I might have pulled a little too tight, but, and then that is how you join your triangles. And then you're just gonna basically take your next one, and since we started with the corner up and this down, you're gonna do this one with your rainbow mist and join it that way. And make sure you have front to front, and then when you flip it over, make sure you have wrong side, and just join as before. And you're gonna keep doing that until you have a total of 13 on there, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, this is what it looks like when it's all done. This is from a previous row, so you just basically following what I've done previously to join these all together. And you're going to have a lot of ends to weave in, especially on these two sides, and you're going to have a tail from where you pulled through the yarn through the magic ring to tighten it up, and then you're just going to weave it in through these posts in the back. And then I'll show you what to do to join this row to the previous row on your blanket. All right, this is what I have so far for my project, and I started the project with this row as the first row, and I did alternating triangles and rows. And then I joined these all together as I mentioned earlier, as I demonstrated earlier. So what I'm going to show you next is how to join this section to the blanket. And these are oversized stitch markers, and these are really great because I learned these come in real handy. Just more of to keep the panels in place. So you're just going to take one of these, and then since we did, so this is going to go this way because you want to have the point facing down, I believe. Yes. See, hopefully I can keep this on here without it falling off the table. It's small. Then you're just going to join this. Make sure you have these two ends point opposite of each other. You're just going to fold over like this. Again, this is kind of hard on the camera, so. And make sure you have that all even. Make sure. Yeah, I think I got it. All right, so basically what you're gonna do here is make sure you have this joined. I got this the wrong way. Oops, had the wrong side showing. There we go. Yeah, I had this right the first time. So make sure you have, again, as with joining, make sure you have right to right, and then you're gonna flip it over so that way the wrong sides are opposite of each other. And so what I do is you're just going to make sure these are joined, and I just like to put these through the chain spaces of the triangles on opposite sides and just clip it. And you're just going to do that. I do this for every triangle, so again, make sure you got the chain spaces lined up on each panel and the blanket. So again, here, hopefully this is making sense. I'm just trying to keep this on this little table I'm working with here, or just for the demonstration anyway. And I just like to do this, make sure it's all lined up. Again, make sure you put that through the chain spaces of both triangles so they're opposite of each other. Again, this is just more of a placeholder, so this stays in place while you're joining these together. Again, make sure chain space of that triangle go to the chain space of the opposite triangle, and then this is going to be the last one because you're of this triangle here into the opposite of the other side. See, that's kind of somewhat semi-joined together, but I also, just to make sure they're evenly centered, I take another one of these and I line up the triangles as best as I can, and I insert one through the center on the top stitches, through the top stitches of the triangle, so that way they are evenly spaced together, so you can join these evenly as possible. And you're joining these the same way as you did the triangles, and fastening off on the end row the same way. Yeah, and I do realize this packet only had 12 of these, so I don't have enough for the entire row, the entire blanket. Again, take your stitch markers, go to make sure you have these as even as possible, and just join it through the top loops, top stitches of those triangles, just to keep it in place while you're joining these together. Alright, and then again, basically you're going to join these the same way as you did the triangles. So you're going to feed your hook through, and these stitch markers also make it a great demarcation point to where to insert the hook. So you're going to insert your hook here, slip, secure it as you did when you joined the triangles individually, and then you're just going to do the same thing. Make sure you line up your stitches, and then you're going to put your hook through the back loop of this triangle and then the front loop of this triangle, and do slip stitches all the way down to the end. And then once you get to the end, you're going to, even as possible, stitch it through there. And then I just like to, in the chain spaces, I like to do 3 slip stitches. So I'll do insert it through here, do a slip stitch, insert it through here, do a slip stitch, and then go through here, do a slip stitch, and then just repeat the process until you get to the very end. And then for the very end, once you have that all joined up, you're just gonna create a long tail and fasten it off. And again, you gotta weave in those 2 ends as well. And then you should have a total of 10 rows of triangles for this project. So I will show you what the completed project will look like. And this is what the blanket looks like after it's all said and done. I know I showed this in the introduction, but I thought it's worth showing again. And I like the way that it turned out. Of course, you can add a border on this, or if you want to fill in these to make it like a smooth, like a more of a square rectangular type of blanket, you certainly can do that. In this video, I demonstrated how to make just the standard blanket the way I have it presented right here. So hopefully everyone's day is going well today, and don't forget to grab those crochet hooks, grab that yarn, and create something beautiful today. And be kind to each other, help each other out, spread love and not hate. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos will come out. And I plan on releasing more videos to come in the future. And I also want to announce that I actually applied to Yarn Inspirations to become an affiliate. So I sent the application in this morning, so I'm just waiting to hear back from them. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that I will be approved and I'll start being monetized. So on that note, enjoy your day, enjoy the time while on Earth while you still have it, and take care of yourself and each other.